They come from all corners of the nation. 80 of the best boys and girls cross-country runners in America meet in San Diego, California to determine who the best of the best is. It's the final race of the season, and for many of our competitors of their high school career, one race, winner takes all. This is the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships on FSN. Welcome to Balboa Park in beautiful San Diego, California, home of the 2006 Foot Locker Cross Country National Championship. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm John Weisbarth, alongside my broadcast partner, Alan Culpepper, excited to be bringing you complete coverage of today's event. And Alan, let's start right there with the event today. Make no mistake about it, the Foot Locker Championship is by far one of the biggest events in cross country at the high school level. It is the only true national championship in the country. Some big things expected here today.
In regards to the individual pursuit of cross-country running, this is by far and away the greatest event of the year. These kids have been focusing on it from the beginning of their season, many of them training through their state meet in order to qualify for this.
Well, we're standing here at the finish line about 50 yards away. 40 of the best boys, 40 of the best girls in high school cross-country are there getting ready for the big race. The field is stacked, and oftentimes with as much talent as there is here today, it's hard to pick a clear-cut front runner, but nonetheless, there are some names that jump out at us. Let's start with the girls' race in the West. Obviously a name right there at the top, Jordan Hasse, the defending champion.
She's only a sophomore, and yet she is the favorite coming in. She won here last year. She ran a beautiful race. Textbook, pulled away at the second half. So she definitely is. She's running tough. She ran great in the region. But we can't forget about Marie Lawrence. I mean, she's been the runner-up 3 years in a row, which is unbelievable for her to be that consistent year after year. And maybe this will be her year. Hopefully she can make that next step to be the national champion.
Looking in the South region, Aurora Scott, a little bit disappointed with her placing last year here, 9th place. This year she says she's come here to do one thing, and that's to win the race.
She ran very, very tough in the South region. She dominated. She broke a 20-year-old course record out there. She actually twisted her ankle right before the start of the race last year, and this year she has said, my goal is to win. So she has her hands full. This is arguably the deepest field in the women's side we've ever had.
Well, when you talk about the South, you can't forget about Kathy Kroger. She too, along with Aurora Scott, smashed the record at the regionals in McAlpine. She's only a sophomore, so you got to look out for her. Finished 16th last year here in the meet, just one place out of being called an All-American. Now in the Northeast, a little bit of a shakeup. The favorite, the heavy favorite, didn't even advance.
She was winning with 100 meters to go, Danielle Toro. She actually collapsed. She managed to get back up and finish 10th. But her not being here changes things a little bit from the Northeast.
Well, it seems to be wide open. Neely Spence is a name right up there at the top. And what she has that maybe some of these other runners don't is she has the pedigree. Her father, Steve, a world-class runner in his own right.
He was world champion, bronze medalist in the marathon. She's homeschooled, rather. And so I think Dad has a big influence on her running.
We join now our third member of the broadcast team, Lauren Fleshman. Lauren.
Thanks, John. I've got a special guest with me right now, Steve Spence, the coach and father of Neely Spence, the Northeast Regional Champion. We understand Neely's been really focused on this event.
Well, she watched Zoe Nelson win this race when she was in 8th grade. And when Neely was in 8th grade, not Zoe, but she at that point told me she wanted to compete at the Foot Locker Championships. As a 9th grader, she almost made it here. She's 14th in the region. And then last year as a sophomore, she was running top 10 in the region until she faded at the end and finished 19th. So she persevered and made it. And we're just so happy for her, and she's just so excited to be here.
Thanks, Steve.
My pleasure.
Back to you, John.
Thanks, Lauren. Let's look at the Midwest then. There's a couple of young names there, a freshman and a sophomore. Let's start with the winner, the freshman, Emily Sisson.
Emily Sisson, she's young. We don't know much about her, actually. She's only a freshman, but she ran a beautiful race, actually, at the regional. She seems a little nervous, so we'll see how she does. Sometimes your first time as a freshman can be a little overwhelming. But Kathy Venata, right behind her, has been running great all season.
Well, that's what the field looks like. Of course, those are just a few of the favorites as we take a look at last year's Foot Locker National Champion, Jordan Hasse. The field is being introduced in front of a boisterous crowd here at Balboa Park in beautiful San Diego, California, the opening gun of the Foot Locker National Championships when we return. 1, 2, 3.
What's up?
Here we have everybody.
The Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships. Brought to you by Nike, Just Do It. And by the San Diego International Sports Council. And Elite Racing, Sports Marketing and Management.
Go West! Yeah, it's all out West.
Tense moments for the 40 best girl cross-country runners in the nation. We're moments away from the 28th running of this historic event. And we're off. The 2006 Foot Locker National Championship is underway. John Weisbarth along with Alan Culpepper and Lauren Fleshman. Alan, talk about the start a little bit here. I know it's a different strategy with the girls.
Well, it's a bit of a downhill start, actually. The first quarter mile is almost straight downhill. It's real gradual, but they like to kind of open up right at the beginning. They move away from the big crowds into the quiet of the forest down here below. So they'll start getting into their rhythm here in just a few minutes.
Our four regions represented by the West in blue, the Midwest in green. The South is represented by the color red, and Northeast in black. We take a look at the leaders. Marie Lawrence, 3 times a runner-up here. Right up at the top, Alan.
Yeah, right off the bat, she's right up in the front. She knows this course in and out. She raced here many times, so she's obviously very comfortable.
Marie's got a lot of grace about her. She's a girl that will impress you whether you've seen her finish second at Foot Lockers or not. I mean, she just has a way about her where she knows that all it's about is having a good time out there and giving your best. She has amazing perspective. I think that that's the kind of quality that will take her far in college and beyond.
Lauren, talk about this course and the strategy. I know it's a 2-loop course, and there's also a big hill in this one and a big downhill.
Well, this course has a lot going for it as far as challenges. Every kind of terrain you can imagine, from dirt to wood chips, grass, concrete. They'll roll some carpets out there over the concrete, but you know, they're going to have a little bit of everything. The one thing they won't have in sunny San Diego is mud, which is a characteristic cross-country type of thing. But, you know, these girls are going to have to pace themselves really well and run really smart races because it's the kind of course that's going to creep up on you on the second loop with those hills.
We take a look at our early leader, number 28 in the red bib there, Rita Jorgensen out of the South. From White Station High School in Memphis, Tennessee, the 8th qualifier out of her region.
On the left, we've got Mel Lawrence. Looks like she's trying to control an early pace. In the middle, you can see we have Emily Sisson. She's a freshman out of Omaha Morion in Nebraska. It's hard to know what to expect out of a freshman on a course like this, but she's kind of just making her way right up to the front right away. Although she's not a typical freshman when it comes to experience. This girl's a junior Olympic cross-country champion last year, as well as having a long list of fantastic track and field PRs that would put a lot of these older girls to shame.
That's number 12, Hannah Davidson, who was second out of the Northeast Regional. So she knows how to run well in these types of conditions, too. She was just behind Neely Spence in that race, right up in the mix. And now on the inside, that's number 39, Marissa Treese. She's out of Michigan. She was only 9th in the region, but she's showing that she has a lot of confidence here up in the national championship. She's not afraid of these other runners. She's a sub 5-minute miler. She's actually class president as a senior there.
Looks like a multi-sport athlete as well. I mean, she's got some basketball experience, horseback riding. You know, you can tell she has an athletic, strong build, and she looks very confident.
Are you guys surprised at all by how packed together it still is, or is this pretty typical in a race like this?
I would say this is a pretty typical first mile of a cross-country race, especially around here. They haven't hit any big obstacles yet, and there's a lot of egos dancing around in this front pack, and they're not going to really let them go.
You mentioned egos there, Lauren. That's something that we talked about with Katie Venata, 2-time Colorado State champion before the race.
All these girls we're all used to running in the front, running out there, winning state meets and everything. And so when you come to one of these, you just have to believe in yourself and just know that coming in the top 5 or so is just great. Coming in at all, I mean, we're the top 40, so I think that's just great and all.
The Midwest still leading the pack. Marissa Treese out in front, followed closely by the freshman, #1 qualifier out of the Midwest, Emily Sisson.
Also, Corey McGee up there from the South region. She's a very strong middle distance runner as well. And if she can really keep contact with that pack throughout this race, you know, she should have a good shot at finishing well.
Our leaders begin their first trek up the hill. This is where the race should start to get interesting, as no doubt the pack will begin to thin itself out.
There's Marie Lawrence, who's made her way up into the front as they start to make their way up the steepest part of the hill.
I would guess that Marie's trying to control the pace a little bit on this hill. She is a strong hill runner, but I don't think that she's necessarily the strongest out there. But she has the type of presence that will command the lead.
More from Balboa Park, where the Foot Locker National Championship continues. Welcome back to San Diego, California, and the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships. You see Emily Sisson. She's on the right side of your screen. We said that was the freshman from the Midwest. She finished first in the regional there. You also have Katie Venata, #32 to the left of her, both in the green jersey. Leading it, Marie Lawrence, the senior from Reno High School.
You know, 4 athletes that we featured early on as being potential contenders in this race, and it looks like they are feeding off of each other from the experience they've raced each other in their regions before.
All the pre-race favorites are now made their way to the front. We're almost halfway into this race. They're going to be coming right by our broadcast station. This is the intense part of the course where the biggest crowds are.
It's really difficult to keep your cool when you run through a crowd like this. And you can see on that screen that it starts to get really packed with spectators. Parents, coaches screaming in their ears. They can't even hear what's going on in their head.
There's Aurora Scott also right there in the mix. These are all our favorites leading the pack. Halfway to go, and this is anybody's race at this point.
The Midwest has 4 girls up in that top 7, and there's the 5th, Betsy Beast, who's a very strong athlete. They are definitely putting up a good showing for the team competition here.
Now, I know Jordan Hasse is known for running a strong final mile. I mean, if you're the girls around her, are you thinking at this point, I have to put a little distance between myself and Hasse, because we know that she can run really hard that last mile?
Not necessarily. Some of them are going to try and key off of her move and actually just go with her on her move and try and keep it close for the finish. I don't think she has necessarily the fastest finishing speed. So she usually tries to actually get away from the other athletes.
Yeah, I would say that if they're smart, they'll just be preparing themselves for her move and almost just waiting, you know, on the tips of their toes for her to explode out of the cannonball. And then she, you know, if they just follow her, if anyone has the guts to go with her when they're in a lot of pain at 2 miles, she might not be expecting that. She's used to breaking away.
Well, we have our top 5 who's just starting to separate themselves. They have about a 10-meter gap on Marie Lawrence. So we'll see if she can actually stay in contact with that pack.
One athlete I'm really impressed with right now is Aurora Scott. She seems to have maybe made the smartest run here, coming up a little bit more gradually to get into this front pack. You can see how she's keying off the other athletes and really just looks relaxed here.
She's homeschooled. She's a very confident young lady. She does things kind of her own way. She's been pretty much to herself this whole weekend. She has incredible range, Lauren.
Unlike a lot of the girls out there, you know, I mean, she's got similar PRs from 800 up to 3,200, but what she's got that the others don't is she's run a half marathon, rock and roll half marathon, actually finishing as the first local female.
She has aspirations actually in the Olympic marathon in the future.
You rarely hear a high school girl talking about that.
This top group has remained packed. Aurora Scott is there. Jordan Hasse, last year's winner, is there. Our champion out of the Midwest, Emily Sisson. The runner-up from the Midwest, Katie Venata.
Kathy Kroger also looks really relaxed up in that group, and I think that she and Aurora Scott are used to pacing off of each other somewhat, and they're probably taking some comfort in the fact that they're right there together.
You're exactly right. We have our 2 South Region champions now right up in the front. They broke a 20-year-old course record, both of them did, and they were 30 seconds up on 3rd place, so they actually seem very comfortable running out in front, pushing the pace. Jordan Hasse in 3rd place, still hanging tough. This is where she broke the race open last year, right on this turn, right in front of the big crowds. And they actually, it appears to me that they've opened up just a little bit of a gap.
Well, this would be something. As you said, Aurora Scott, Kathy Kroger, very comfortable running at the front of the pack, and that's where they are right now. Still a little ways away from the hill. And I have to imagine, guys, a second time going up that hill, such a steep incline, it really burns. This is really where you got to dig deep if you want to win this race.
Absolutely, and they're making a smart move right now, trying to break Jordan. I think they're taking her out of her comfort zone, but Jordan is a little compact machine, and when she hits that hill, I really think that she still has a chance for this right now if she keeps her head about her.
Stride for stride, the South is leading the Nationals right now. Aurora Scott, Kathy Kroger, number 21 and 22.
This is really exciting. I can't remember the last time I saw the South dominating the front of the race like this.
Well, they definitely have opened up a lead, and this is definitely unfamiliar territory for Hasse. She's used to being in the front.
Alan, it's been 20 years since a champion has been crowned out of the South. We'll see if they can hang on when the Foot Locker National Championships continue. Welcome back to the Foot Locker National Championship in San Diego's Balboa Park. And look at the lead now for the South.
They've opened up a very marginal gap on Sisson in third, Kroger in fourth. Looks like Hasse in fifth.
It looks like this is the part of the course that has the least spectators and where the most interesting drama can happen.
Yeah, we're starting to go up the hill for the second time. This is where we're really going to see their fitness level come out.
Well, if Hasse wants to make a move, this is the time that she wants to try and make it on the uphill. She says she likes the uphill more than the downhill. She has got some space and some distance to make up.
This is great. This is really exciting stuff right now.
Just about 2 minutes away from the finish. It's a little deceiving. They're closer to the finish than you realize. They're on the backside of the course. But as soon as they come down that big hill, they're only about 600 meters out from the finish.
We take a look at the leaders. Kroger, a small lead now on Aurora Scott. Coming up behind them in third place, that looks like Katie Venata. Hasse in blue on the left side of your screen. That's Emily Sisson running in fifth. And moving into sixth, Minnesota State champ Alex Gitz and Marie Lawrence. But look at this. Kathy Kroger has opened up a big lead on Aurora Scott. Can Scott close?
Aurora Scott has 2:14.800 speed, and she's run 4:27 for 1,500 meters as well. And if she can maintain some contact, she might be able to reel her in. But Kathy is making a very strong move right now, and I have not seen an athlete look this relaxed in the lead for a while.
She's also a 4:49 miler. She has great track credentials.
You know, she's a really sweet girl, too, if you get the chance to meet her. She's very unassuming, has a great smile, very kind. It seems like the other girls really like her.
To that point, she said, you know, my dad always said a big head just adds more runner's resistance. She's very, very modest. And look at her fly down the hill. Aurora Scott trying to close, but it's just 1 and 2 here. We can't even see another runner in the screen.
Wow, really dominating this. She's letting her arms go a little bit, but she still looks pretty strong.
We are getting down to it here. Kathy Kroger still running a good race, but here comes Aurora Scott. She seems to be turning it over just a little bit harder. She's maybe going for a kick here.
It looks like it. It looks like she's started to make her move a little bit.
Well, I hope that Kathy Kroger doesn't feel too comfortable here with her lead.
Kathy Kroger, a sophomore, finished second to Aurora Scott in the regional. Aurora Scott hot on her tail, trying to close, but can Kroger hold her off? Right now, it looks like she can, but as you say, anything can happen in the final 500, 400 meters of this race.
They just passed the 3-mile mark, only 200 meters to go. Coming by the crowd right here.
There, she took a look over her shoulder. Looks like she's comfortable with her lead. She can just keep her head together and use that crowd to push her through here.
Here she comes, Kathy Kroger. She's gonna be your 2006 Foot Locker National Champion. She wins this going away. Aurora Scott coming on strong. The battle now will be for third place. Kathy Kroger finished in 17:30, a great race for the sophomore. As we mentioned, finished 16th last year.
It looks like Emily Sisson out of the Midwest with Caitlin Venata right there, right with her.
And here comes Marie Lawrence. 3 second-place finishes, and now it looks like she will finish 5th. She finished it strong. Corinne Tarver digging it out. Jordan Hasse has faded.
Sisson's right there, too.
Neely Spence with a big kick at the end.
Betsy B's here from the Midwest. a great contender at the NTN meet last weekend.
The top 15 receive All-American status, but remember, everyone here is a champion. Just to qualify for the Foot Locker National Championships is a huge honor. A final check of the leaderboard shows us the South, a strong finish there. Kathy Kroger, Aurora Scott finished 1 and 2. Any other surprises there, Lauren?
Well, there was a good fight for third in that pack, and Emily Sisson from the Midwest came out on top. Marie Lawrence finished up her senior year with 4 finishes in the top 5.
Well, let me ask you about that. I mean, that is significant. Though Marie Lawrence never won this race, to finish in the top 5 4 years in a row, that says something about her.
First team All-American throughout her whole high school career. That's very, very impressive and actually almost unheard of.
I've got the Foot Locker champion here with me, Kathy Kroger. What an exciting race. Tell me what was going on there in that last mile.
Well, it started off pretty slow with like a 11:30 or so 2 mile, and then I was just hanging with Aurora, and then I ended up pulling away around the hill, and I had no idea I could win, and I just kept the lead all the way.
When you took the lead, did you think that this was going to be for good, or what was your strategy?
Well, I was just kind of scared someone was going to come and catch me in the last half mile or so, but I just tried to keep pushing it, and then I won. I was really surprised.
You have just got to be thrilled. Congratulations on your accomplishment. You're the Foot Locker National Champion. I mean, that is just, you are joining a field of really elite athletes up there, and I hope you have a really bright future. Is there anything you want to say to the people back at home?
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without the support from my family and my coach and my school and everything.
Way to lead the group.
I'm joined with Jordan Hasse, our defending champion. Jordan, tell me about your race today.
I was really nervous. There was a lot of pressure. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and so I think I was really tired on the last mile, and I'm not used to having them with me at the last mile. Like, so last year I was by myself, so that helped, but they're really great runners, and I'm really happy for them.
Did you have a little different game plan coming in, having won before? Did you say, I'm going to try and implement what I did last year, or did you want to run a little bit of a different race?
I just wanted to see what the other girls did, and it ended up I tried to do what I did last year, but it didn't work. I was too tired.
You would be so proud of you.
I gotta get that shire, Dad. With a fabulous performance, I've got the runner-up, the Foot Locker National Championships, Aurora Scott, the South Region champion coming in here, one of the heavy favorites, and you have just maintained a calm, cool composure throughout this entire weekend. You know, how have you managed to do that?
Well, I'm just typically pretty laid back. That's probably what lost me the race here, because, last year I was like, oh, I'm just going to sit back here, and get at the top. But, I just found myself back there. I was like, I messed up, so, yeah.
So you let her go a little bit too early and couldn't reel her back in. Looked like you were making a good, strong end of the race surge, though, and you kept your cool about you. Once the win was a little bit out of reach, you kept running strong, which means a lot. You kept other runners from catching you, and this is your best finish, definitely, right?
Yeah, definitely. I just was disappointed with the time, because I had my watch at 5:20, and when I saw the first mile, I was like, oh my God, just slow.
An impressive race for Aurora Scott. And now it's the boys' turn. The Foot Locker National Cross Country Championships brought to you by Foot Locker. Go the distance in shoes you love. Foot Locker, love thy sneaker. Nike, just do it. And Elite Racing, sports marketing and management. Welcome back to the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championship in beautiful San Diego. You're looking at Adam Goucher, American distance great, pumping up the West team. Our Alan Culpepper caught up with Adam earlier.
I'm joined with Adam Goucher, the 1993 champion of this great race. He actually ran 14:41 on this course, one of the fastest times ever. Adam, tell me, kind of your thoughts on American distance running, where we are in being around all these great high school runners.
I think this is, we're making our move back up. I know I've been saying that for years, but really, you take a look at the talent in the last few years, the talent we have right now, and you can look and see that the athletes that are running now are running close to as fast as we're running back in the day and working hard, and I think it's we're right around the corner.
Well, this is the future of American distance running. Foot Locker brings all these kids together, and for a lot of them, it's the first chance for them to rub elbows with runners of their caliber.
You know, it's a lot of fun, and you know that's one of the great things I like about this meet is you can go into it and have a great time, meet a lot of great kids, and also enjoy and get to compete in a race that a lot of people don't get to compete in.
The Foot Locker National Championship, always a lot of fun and is about more than just the race, but the race is why everybody is here. Well, another congratulations to Kathy Kroger, the winner of the women's race. It was a great race, but we have yet another great race ahead of us. And let's start talking about the boys' race, and we'll start in the Northeast. Craig Forries, a lot of people think that if there is a favorite in this race, he's one of them.
Yeah, Craig, he's known for having a good finishing kick. He's really come into his own this year. Massive improvements, setting course records in several occasions this season. And, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him right up in the front.
And then Steve Doc Murdoch, another guy out of the Northeast. I know you have a little bit of a relationship with him. He's a very funny guy, I guess we could say. Great personality, but also a good runner.
Yeah, Steve's real charming and full of charisma, and I think, his greatest talent here is going to be his speed on this cross-country course. And the guy just came off a win at Nike Team Nationals. Some people thought it was a surprise, but he didn't act like it was. He took charge at 2K and powered all the way home.
As we take a look at the West region, some strong competitors here. Let's start with the guy who finished second in the regionals, Chad Hall. He's been running very well lately.
There's been a lot of buzz about Chad Hall. He comes from a running family, really strong running tradition, and he looks like glass when he goes over the course. He's a strong hill runner. He trains at altitude. He could have some advantages here.
The winner in the West region was Matt Tebow. He finished one off of All-American status last year, a 16th place finish. He is a good runner. He's been running tough races as well. And Alan is standing by with his coach.
I'm here with Matt Tebow's coach out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, tell me how Matt's feeling coming in, having won the regional.
He needed that confidence boost. He's had a tough year, and he hasn't really hit all the time goals that he wanted to meet. So going into Foot Locker, we really thought, get a win, enjoy the race. If he was there to go for it, he went for it. So I think he got a real good confidence booster going into this race.
Tell me about some of the setbacks he's had this season and how he's kind of come around here at the end.
He had pretty bad shin splints probably in September, and he lost about 2 or 3 weeks of training. And then in November, we found out his iron was a little low. So we got him on iron supplements, and just the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's really put together some great workouts, and he's had a great race at the Western Regional, so I think he's ready to go.
And how do you feel he is coming in mentally? I know this race has a lot of build-up, a lot of pressure, and he's been here before. Do you feel like that experience is helping him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, out of the favorites, he's probably got the most experience. He's been here last year. He was second at outdoors, third at indoors, so he's got a lot of big race experience. He knows how to handle the pressure, so I think that's going to help him mentally a lot.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Alan. And now as we take a look at the South region, Ryan Hill obviously won that region, so he's a name we have to look out for. He's a 2-time North Carolina state champ, but many people feel the name to look out for coming out of the South, that young man, Ben Hubers.
Yeah, Ben Hubers has had an excellent season with a Great American win earlier in the year. He got taken down by Germa in the Georgia State meet, kind of unexpectedly and fairly dominantly, so I don't know what to expect really from that region.
Well, Ben trains in Kennesaw Mountain National Park outside of his home in Marietta, Georgia. He was the state champ last year as a junior. A bit of a surprise he didn't repeat this year.
Ben's had a couple defeats in his career, and he's learned from it, and I think he's done a good job of being very humble about it and very modest with his success. And then when he does get beat, he understands and he goes to learn from it. And so, he wasn't happy about it, and I wasn't happy about it that he got beat. But on that day, Germer ran a great race, and Ben just didn't have it that day. And so we're going to try to fix the mistakes that we had and go on from there.
I'm going to run as fast as I can until there's nothing left in me. After this, there's no more high school cross country for me, so this is it.
While Ben was upset at the regional by Ryan Hill, he was able to avenge an earlier loss in the state meet to Germa Macheso. Nobody knows a lot about Germa, his first year running cross country, and you mentioned it, he is a strong one as well.
Absolutely. That guy, I don't know what he's capable of, but speaking of newcomers to the sport and people that you don't know what to expect, Hassan Mead is brand new this year to the sport, and he is at the Foot Locker National Championships in his first season. It's pretty incredible.
Well, Hassan Mead, a surprise winner out of the Midwest, but the real surprise was who didn't qualify out of that region, Evan Yeager. Picked by many to be one of the top finalists in the finals. He's a top-ranked runner in the country, was right in the thick of things in the regionals, but just faded. Didn't make any excuses, but that left the door open for Hassan Mead to win it. We take a look now at Mead as he walks up to the starting line. He's standing next to teammate Deshaun Turner, who was here last year. We're moments away from the starting gun when we return on FSN. Welcome back to Balboa Park in beautiful San Diego, California. FSN presents the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships. The 40 best boys cross country runners in the nation approach the line. We're moments away from the start.
Runners on your mark.
And with the cannon blast, we are off. The 2006 Men's Championship. And Alan, it seems like every year, maybe it's the nerves, maybe it's the downhill, maybe it's the excitement, but they never seem to come out slow at this part of the race.
No, they always, definitely the cannon gets them going. There's Steve Murdoch right off the bat, our last week's NTN champion, getting it going.
Chad Hall up on the right there, he got off to a really quick start.
Alan, I know you've said that oftentimes the guy leading at the 1 mile mark is not the one who's going to come home with the win, although A.J. Acosta last year was able to kind of hold on.
Yeah, he was kind of single-handedly proved me wrong last year. Historically, the early leader doesn't win this race because the guys are just, the depth is really, really deep, and they're all really tough runners. So, you know, once again, we're on this slight downhill. We'll see how it starts to play out, but all the top front runners that we're looking at are all up there.
Well, Matt Tebow is our early leader. He loves to jump out to a fast-paced start, and that's what he's doing right now, trying to set the pace.
Chad Hall right behind him, also from the West. He's he's an interesting story. His brother is a national champion at the elite level at cross-country running, and his dad's actually his coach. He comes from a pretty high level of high school training in terms of mileage. He runs upwards of 100 miles a week. He told me this week he's going to taper down and only run 70 miles, which is actually hard to believe for the high school level. That's more than most of these other kids are doing at the height of their training. And that's number 53, Tommy Grunewald out of the Northeast. He's a big kid, big, strong runner. He likes to get up in the front, push the pace. I heard him talking yesterday with his coach, and they said, you know, we don't like to wait to have it come down to a kick like we did in the regional. We're going to try and get away from these guys a little bit.
We're all here to make each other better, and so this opportunity is like a great opportunity to just improve, you know, our national runners. And so when I'm around these people, I just want to race as hard as I can and feel like I contributed to the race to make it a little bit better than it would have been if I hadn't been there.
Well, Tommy Grunewald last raced here as a sophomore. He's a senior now. Likes to force the pace in the middle. Chad Hall's at the lead, though. He's being pushed by a Western teammate.
We got Matt Tebow pushing the pace up in the front still. A great kid all around. He's been called gentleman of cross-country sports. So the kind of kid that sticks around at the end of the race to shake everybody's hand. Really impressive kid all around. I hope he has a great race today. Also, you can see right kind of stalking that pack is Craig Forries. He's a little bit tucked in there. But he's a guy I would expect maybe a surge around 2 miles.
Forries is a tough runner. He's actually run 4:05 in the mile as a junior. He's either tied, broken, or just missed course records on every course he's run this year. So he's undefeated coming in. So he's actually, if he's the one to beat, I think we should actually be looking for him.
Look at this spread. These guys are from edge to edge on this course here. They are just still fighting for position pretty hard coming up here. I mean, they're going to be coming up on the mile within another 2 minutes or so.
As far as this course is concerned, is it easy to pick your way through the pack, or is it tougher? I mean, I know sometimes a small, narrow course, if you get caught, you know, 15th, 20th, it's hard to pick your way through just as far as getting past the runners. Is it easier on a course like this?
You know, I think it's actually easier. When you've only got 40 competitors in a race, it's not as difficult to maneuver your way around. But this course does have some tricky parts. When you get off into the hill area where there's less spectators, a lot more routes, a lot more tangents. You know, it's not clean cut.
Here comes Richard Medina of Grand Junction, Colorado. He's moved into 3rd spot now.
Chad Hall right up front where he's most comfortable. He's really looking pretty relaxed at this point.
Right here's a big sharp 90-degree turn. The guys come almost to a complete stop as they go around this. They start to bunch back up.
You know, Chad Hall actually started running cross country as a freshman in order to be conditioning for basketball. He was a basketball player growing up, but after he went out and won his first 2 races, he realized pretty quickly, I'm not going to be playing basketball anymore. I'm a runner, and a good choice as he leads the Foot Locker Nationals about 4.5 minutes in.
He's one of those runners that definitely feels more comfortable setting the tempo, setting the pace. And so when he's out in front, some guys actually feel more comfortable in that position.
Where he might run into trouble is if someone puts a mid-race surge on him that isn't used to racing him, maybe someone not from the West region who's not as familiar. I would expect something like that out of Forey's or someone out of the South.
So as we enter the hill, it's 1, 2, 3, all West regionals. Michael Cybulski in 3rd place as he entered the hill. Kind of a track guy. He says he likes a rhythm course a little bit better as he has a longer stride. That could hurt him in the uphill.
Well, he's a little bit of a dark horse just because last week he was at the Nike Team Nationals, so he didn't run the regional race. So these other guys didn't really get a sense of how his fitness is. You know, he's one of those guys that they might be underestimating.
The Foot Locker Cross Country Championships will continue on FSN. Welcome back to the Foot Locker Championships. John Weisbarth alongside Alan Culpepper, Lauren Fleshman. We're still early on in the boys' race as the pack gets set to head down the first steep downhill. You've got Chad Hall in the lead. Coming up on his shoulder, Craig Forey's the Northeast champ in black. Also in black out of the Northeast, that's Steve Murdoch. And look at the back in the red, that's Ben Hubers coming on strong. A strong push into 4th place out of the hill.
Hubers is a confident kid. You know, he's a great American champion. He's had some good races earlier in the season. You know, and I think that he'll have a really strong finish here because he's, like you said, finished 2nd quite a few times, knows how to run well even when he's not winning.
Well, traditionally, the South hasn't done well here at the Foot Locker Championships, but right now, 3 of their runners right within striking distance. Colby Lowe out of Texas, Ben Hubers, and newcomer Germa Macheso. Now, Macheso's been battling Hubers all season long.
He didn't run the most intelligent race in the South region. Actually, he went out very, very hard, put a big distance on himself between him and the rest of the field. And then with 200 meters to go, 3 of the guys caught him. So he's actually running a much more intelligent race this week.
Well, Macheso, actually a great story. Born in Ethiopia, moved to Kenya with his family to escape political persecution. Just moved to America this year, so he's still trying to make the transition not only to running, but just to life here in America.
Steve Murdoch, it looks like, making a move on the right side of your screen there. He's had a really outstanding breakthrough race last week at the Nike Team Nationals. Hopefully the mud didn't take it out of his legs for this week.
Here they come once again past our broadcast station about halfway into the race. A huge pack of runners. All the major players still there. Anyone can win this race.
They are running 5, 6 across at this point. And you're right, it is anyone's race at the halfway point. Another great race.
Someone we haven't talked about yet is Hassan Mead out of the Midwest. Saw he had just moved up right into the back of the lead pack. He's a bit of an unknown. It's his first year running cross country, and he comes out and wins the Foot Locker Regional in the Midwest, pulling away by 5 seconds.
You know, and I talk about trying to pick your way through the crowd. He found himself in about 40th place at the regionals, but slowly, surely picked his way through the crowd to go on and win that. You're right, certainly a dark horse candidate that most people haven't seen him, don't know a lot about him.
He's in the green, number 71.
The number 54, Steve Murdoch, is making his move right now. He made a move last weekend at about the 2K mark of a 5K course, and he just dragged it right out and held it. Unexpected champion to a lot of people.
You know, how much does fatigue come into play for Murdoch, who ran the NTN last week, won that? Is that a factor at all or no?
You know, not so much at the high school level. These guys are used to racing a lot. Again, on the West, they just ran their regional last week. So in some ways, they're kind of in the race mode. They're used to racing every week. They're kind of have that same race mentality. Some of these other kids who haven't raced in 3 or 4 weeks, they may be off their game a little bit.
Steve Murdoch, they call him Doc. This has been a bit of a change, his style. He had to change his racing style. He used to come out of the blocks just on fire, try to lead it wire to wire and hang on at the end. He changed his style to race a little bit more technical, tactical race where he'll save some for the end, and that's what he kind of did. Worked his way up, and now he leads halfway through.
Yeah, it looks like he's having a hard time breaking these guys, though, on this incline. He's going to have a tough time. He may have made his move a little bit too soon. There's still the hill on the back part of the course. And, I mean, he's not going to be able to break away the same way he would at the Nike Team Nationals on a flat course in Portland.
That's exactly right. And again, we have Chad Hall in second, Ben Hubers, Michael Sobolski, Germa Machezo, all right in the mix. One thing I did notice is Fories out of the Northwest, one of our main contenders coming in. He seemed to be falling off the pack a little bit. Yesterday, I asked him how he was feeling, just, you know, thinking he'd say something real confident. He said, you know, I've been a little sick. I got a little cold, but I think I'm okay. So maybe that little bit of a cold's catching up with him.
But now we see Chad Hall make a move.
Chad Hall is really coming into his own right now. He is making the move at the absolute smartest part of this race for him. If he can break these guys before this hill, he's got superior hill strength, in my opinion. He could have a sizable lead at the crest of the hill, which will be extremely difficult to move out. Look at this lead.
What a smart move at a great place. You said it absolutely, Lauren. And look at him open it up here.
And that's what it's about. It's making the move that's smartest for the way you race. And he knows himself well. You know, he's got a real supportive family, a lot of experience. He'd probably take some advice from his brother and his sister-in-law, Sarah Hall. Great athletes in their own right, great coach.
If you're holding back and you're getting second at the regional, that's a good sign you're going to run well 1 week later.
Good sign for you, bad news for the rest of the field.
Murdoch's hanging in there. I'm impressed with him. You know, if he can keep his head about him, he should finish top 5.
Looks like we got Steve Murdoch still in second, Germa Machezo in third, Hassan Mead in fourth.
But it's Chad Hall stealing the show here on the back part of the course.
Chad Hall just pulling away from a thin chase pack at this point. Still lots of race left.
Just about 1,000 meters to go. They're just starting to go up to the base of the steep hill.
A lot of the shaking up is going to be in those 5th to 15th place All-American spots in a strung-out race like this. That's where the really strong athletes are going to prevail.
So if you've got a kick, now is the time to start to kick it in as they come down the home stretch.
Yeah, pour it on.
Closing up this gap. This is incredible. We've got a race on our hands.
They closed it up. So obviously the hill was a factor this year. Mead and Murdoch right there closed the gap.
Murdoch is one tough guy, and I don't know, I'm starting to change my tune here a little bit.
Look at Doc Murdoch. He's making a move now before the downhill. He has moved into first place. He just paced Chad Hill.
The question is, did Chad Hall blow a fuse already?
As the rest of the boys make it up the hill, we'll return with the conclusion of the boys' race. Can Doc Murdoch hang on?
I was standing in that box,
telling myself, I belong here. I've worked for this. You just feel your heart pounding. When that gun goes off,
instincts take over.
You're going tree to tree.
Stay focused, keeping the pressure on, keeping the pressure
My
on.
heart is pumping really fast.
And the crowd is going crazy. I remember making a real bold move. It just blew the race wide open.
You just see that tape coming.
Keep running and don't look back.
It's solidified in my mind that I can compete with anyone.
The Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships brought to you by Foot Locker. Go the distance in shoes you love. Foot Locker, love thy sneaker. And by Elite Racing, sports marketing and management. And Nike, just do it. Welcome back to Balboa Park, the final leg of the men's finals. You're looking at Steve Murdoch, a senior out of Clifton Park, New York. He's in the lead. Close on his heels, Chad Hall.
Oh, we got him
Murdoch
running.
almost lost his footing right there.
Losing control, really going after it. Checking over his shoulder. It looks like we've got some anxiety. The guy is just going for broke at this point.
You know, he broke a 20-year-old course record out in Van Cortlandt Park, one of the most famous courses.
And look at Hall now. Hall trying to make a kick.
Oh, this is what you want. The national championship, you want a close race. This is beautiful.
And fighting with each other, they are distancing themselves from the rest of the pack by an incredible amount.
Just about 400 meters to go. It's kind of deceiving. Doesn't seem like they're close to the finish, but they're just about a minute away here.
It's Chad Hall, Steve Murdoch running side by side for the finish for the national championship. Anyone's race at this point.
Who is going to have the better kick? Oh, we've got grimaces. This is incredible.
These guys are running to the death. This is incredible. Just about 200 meters to go.
Oh,
Chad Hall's made a move. Murdoch is staying with him. Now Murdoch is
fighting
passing.
back and forth. These guys are just going to grit it out here.
Now it's Chad Hall. This is going to be anyone's race as we come down the stretch.
Murdoch's looking over his shoulder. This doesn't look good for him.
And Hall's turned it on once again at 410 miler, showing his speed.
The senior from Big Bear High School pulling away at the end. Chad Hall, barring a trip or a fall, will be your 2006 national champion.
And that's Forries coming up quickly. He might steal second.
Here comes Craig Forries. Forries is going to pass Murdoch. Forries is into second.
Murdoch third, Hassan Mead fourth. Oh, and no, and that's Tebow. Oh, that was really close.
Photo finished at the end.
And now
Matt
they
Tebow
come
and Mead
racing across the line in herds. 3 West athletes in a row coming in here together.
A final look at the men's leaderboard. And Alan, a question I asked you during the race, how would the Nike Team Nationals affect some of these runners? Ran last week in Portland, apparently not very significantly.
Well, that is a little concerning, having a tough race up in Portland last week in the mud and the tough conditions. But obviously it didn't affect him. We got Steve Murdoch in third, Ben Johnson sixth, Michael Cebulski in seventh. So obviously these guys came in kind of under the radar and were able to put together a great race here.
Well, Big Bear High School's Chad Hall out of the West region was the winner, but the Northeast represented very well with Craig Forries.
Yeah, Craig Forries off a great year. You know, he came back from a little bit of a mid-race fizzle to come up and claim second over Steve Murdoch. Steve Murdoch really made that race in the last mile with a very courageous move, but it's Chad Hall on top at the end.
Great job. Hey.
I'm here with Chad Hall, our national champion. Chad, you've got to be excited. Tell me about your race today, how it unfolded for you.
Well, we all kind of stuck together through almost the entire race, and I tried to break them a little bit at about 2 miles, and I think I held them off for probably close to a half mile, but they caught back up to me going up the hill. So I was hoping to keep that gap, but it didn't quite work out that way.
Well, it showed a lot of poise that you didn't panic when they caught you again, that you were able to actually finish strong again. Did you have that pre-race game coming in, say, I want to pull away at 2 miles and try and run away with it?
Yeah, if I was feeling good, I knew I was going to go after it at about the 2 mile mark. And the pace was a little bit slower, so I really tried to get after it. And then didn't quite have enough left, so I knew that if they caught back up to me, I'd just kind of leave it up to the kick.
Turner, baby. Nice job representing the West. Oh, I got you.
Great job. You just really left it all out there. You're just covered, drenched. This guy gave me the wettest hug I've ever had in my life about 2 minutes ago. How did you feel out there?
I felt pretty good up until like the last 800. Like I felt for a while that I was gonna win. Like I thought I had it, but I felt strong enough. But as you can hear, Chad Hall is stronger, and Craig kind of outkicked me. But that's where my problem is. I don't really have a kick, so I try to take it out like in the middle of the race.
Give it up, take a good break, and get ready for track season.
Yes, and remember, my offer is always there.
Steve proposed to me last night. I'm still thinking about it. Great job.
Thanks.
I'm here with Craig Forries. Came on really strong at the finish to finish second. Tell me about your race.
Well, we took it out decently fast. I think it was like 2:16 or so. And I felt really good through that whole first mile. And then they started pulling away from me about 2 miles. And about the last huge downhill, I just said to myself, give it what you got, man. You know, this is your last 800 of your high school career for cross country. So I was just hoping they would come back to me, and most of them did, but Chad really manned up.
Well, you obviously used your speed to your advantage to finish strong, past a lot of guys, so congratulations. Runner up, man, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, very happy. Congratulations to Chad and everybody else. Very excited.
Great, thanks, man.
No problem.
Well, Chad Hall was your men's champion, but as we wrap up here, I do want to look back to the women's final. It was a competitive race. We said it beforehand, maybe the most competitive field, and really it shook out where some of the pre-race favorites were there, but some may have surprised us.
Absolutely. We had some South representation up in front there. Kathy Kroger winning it all, and Aurora Scott with a close second. A lot of just really great girls out there, solid performances.
Well, as we said, it was a great group of athletes, and the same can be said for the men's side of this. You know, we talk about Chad Hall and what he was able to do in this race. It came down to a kick. It was a 2-horse race, and Chad Hall able to gut it out at the end.
You know, that's what you want to see at the national championship, is a close race, a close finish. You know, he pulled away with about a mile to go. The guys rolled him back up on the hill, came down to a tight finish, and he should be really proud of that accomplishment.
Well, we said it would be a great day of racing, and I certainly think it was. Nothing to be disappointed about here. Thank you so much for watching the 2006 Foot Locker Cross Country National Championships on FSN.